Hey there, we're going to show you a very basic quick introduction to erdas Imagine 2011. Just in case you've never used this program before or something like that. So right here you can see I already have the program pulled up. And so the very first thing is what you're wondering to do is how do I load something in here. So you have a couple of different ways you can do this. You can either go up here to the top left hand corner where it says File, and you can click on it and go to Open. And you can pick raster, vector, whatever you want to from here. Or what you could do here is just right click in this contents window on the 2D view, and you go to, pretty much have your same options right here as well. Or you can even right click actually inside of the 2D view itself and pick what you want. So in this case we're going to open a raster layer here. I'm going to go to my recents because I already had something opened here. This is a Landsat image of the Gainesville area in Georgia. Up here you can see this is where Lake Lanier is, and right here is where Gainesville City is. So with this, you have a lot of basic functions with this, like what you would have with ArcMap or something like that. You can actually zoom in and out by kind of like using the scroll on your mouse pad. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, as you want. If you want to pan around, if you have a little mouse scroll bar, you can just click down on it and then you can drag it around and then just use it again to scroll. If you don't have that, you just have to kind of come up here to the top and use the pan. And you just click pan, and you can see the icon changes here to a little hand, and you can just click and drag it around. And then you can still have your zoom functions as well if you have the scroll bar on your mouse. And underneath the pan here you can see where the scale is, so it's telling you what you're zoomed at right now. If you are just zoomed in really far somewhere and you want to get back out to the whole view again, you have two options you can do here. You can either come up here to the top and hit this fit the frame button, or what you can do is just right click in the view and go all the way down here to fit the frame, and it takes you right back to it. It fits the image perfectly to the screen size that you have it currently at. This is really kind of also nice because you can add multiple views in here as well. So as you can see here, we're at number 1 as a view. So you can actually go right here to add views. You can create 2D views, 3D views. You can go and split the screen up, let's say display 4 views. Automatically made you 4 windows. So that's pretty nice. You can pin them and unpin them from where they're at. You can lock them with one another. So as you zoom in on one window, it zooms in on another window. This kind of makes it really easy for you to look at different bands and kind of compare them. And so speaking about bands, if you want to look at this, this is a false color viewing. So if you want to change this to a different color viewing, click on the multispectral tab at the top, and then you kind of come over here to this red, green, and blue. And then you can see what layers you have assigned to it right now. So we'll change it to true color. So 1, 2, 3. So that's your true color viewing. This is what the satellite image normally looks like. And so the false color viewing, it just has it set where the near infrared band is going to the red is going to the green, and green's going to the blue. It makes vegetation pop out really well. And so there's different combinations you can do here to in order to view things differently. And so you can kind of zoom down in here. Granted though, you can't see a whole lot, not a whole lot of detail at the very least, because this is a Landsat image that has very low resolution to it. And so the pixels are 30 meters by 30 meters. And so you have two ways of figuring this out, what the pixel size are. So you can either go here to the Home tab and go to Measure. And this brings up this little window right here for you, measuring. And so we have it set to meters right now, and we'll pick this icon right here for the length here, and hang on here, let me zoom down a little bit farther here, closer to a pixel. Makes it a little easier to measure here, and we'll measure it from one corner to the next. And here you can see 29.85 meters, so it's roughly 30 meters long. And so since a pixel is a square, it's going to be 30 by 30. And so you can also measure areas with this, volumes, and so on. So the other way to figure this out here, so we'll go back to fit the frame, is you go up here to this metadata button. You just click on it, and here it's going to pop up all the data for this image. And so this is pulling up the data for layer 1, and this is excuse me, this image does have 4 layers to it, or excuse me, 7. It's a Landsat image. And so it has your typical RGB, it has like a near infrared, middle infrared, and even a thermal band as well. And the thermal band does have a different resolution to it. And so we'll see that here in just a moment. And so if you come all the way down here to this 4th box, you can see where it says pixel size X, pixel size Y. You see it's 30, and you can see the units are meters. This also tells you that this image is a 30 meter by 30 meter image. So if we change this to like band 6, here, oops, I'm sorry, wrong band. Okay, where is it at? Alright, for some reason, it's not wanting to change. But the thermal band on here, its pixel size isn't 30 meters by 30 meters. It's actually larger than that. On here, you can look at the projection information for your image, and even also the histogram as well. So the histogram here is just kind of showing you the distribution of the digital numbers that are falling within that band. And so we kind of move this back here, like the 4, this is like your near infrared band. And so here you can see that a high spike over here in the low end, that's going to be a good indication of water. It has a very low digital number values for near infrared. And as you're moving up, the higher the number is getting, and you're getting into like a little bit of a mix here between like urban rocks and soils and vegetation. And so this is showing you that there's a distinct difference here between a couple of different features. And so you can use this in order to differentiate between different classes. And so that's how you get into doing classification. So we'll go over here to the raster tab here, and you can see if we go under unsupervised, we can do unsupervised classifications. That will just classify the image up for you into like 100, 250, however many different classes you want, and then you have to start grouping them together to figure out what classes are what. Or you can go over here to like the supervised classification, and you actually kind of train the computer here on how to do this particular type of classification. So you kind of make like little polygons or little vector files, so saying like this over here is water, you know, and you tell like this is urban, and you tell them like this is soil, and like this is trees, and it takes those average digital numbers and it'll go through and classify the entire image based off the training set that you gave it. And so there's pros and cons to both. If you get in the hyperspectral imagery, imagery that has like more, than 50 bands or so, you're getting in the hyperspectral imagery at that point. You also have functionality with vectors in here. You can convert, raster to vector, vector to raster. You can create ASCII files in here. You can do contrast stretching. Since you're dealing with a histogram here, you can actually alter the digital numbers that are going on. Even have filters, like directional filters and stuff, to make certain items of an image pop out more. So if you have like particular lines, you can run like a directional filter that will make lines in a particular direction pop out more, and you can see them easier by raising like their digital numbers, for instance. You can also orthocorrect. You can do orthorectifying of imagery in here, radiometric correction as well. So any of the pre-processing sides of the imagery you can do within here. You also do have a toolbox in here where you can actually go into this little model maker, which is a lot like ArcMap and its model maker, and you can actually design a model, which is kind of like a batch processing method for something to process. So if you want something that could be clipped and then be filtered and then get your result from it, you could set up a model to do that in here. And so just, it also has terrain tools in here as well for calculating like slope if you have like a DEM or a terrain model that you're pulling in here. So it's different DEM tools. You can actually handle LiDAR files in here as well. So this is a pretty well-rounded program. And then, for instance, here, these tabs from the multispectral all the way over to the table, you can kind of see here where it says raster, and it kind of encompasses this right here. So depending on what you bring in here, you'll have different options for your tabs. So for instance, like this is a multispectral, and so these are the options that you have. Let's say, though, we'll bring in, let's open up a new file here. Let's open up a panchromatic image. So this is a black and white image that usually has a pretty high spatial resolution to it. And also, since we're right here, you can actually go to this raster options tab. You can kind of like pick what you want to do. Like if you hit clear display, like when I bring this thing in, it will actually delete any imagery that's already in that particular view. You can do a fit the frame, data scaling, no stretching, view extent. So you have a couple of different options here that you can pick. So in this case, we'll click the set view, oops, I'm sorry, not set view, fit the frame here. And so when I click OK here and bring this image in, it's automatically going to fit it the frame. And so automatic fit the frame for both images on here. And so this is the zoomed out version for both. And over here in the contents window, if you wanted to get rid of one of them and not see it, you can just click on this little checkbox. It makes it go away. Click it again, it comes back. And so now if I click on this Pan Atlanta image, watch at the top and then you'll see the tabs change. So you see how it changed? Where so this says panchromatic now, gives you a little bit of some slightly different options about what's going on with it. And if I click on the linear, you see it change the multispectral. So you can see here where it's giving you some different options that you can choose from and do with it. And so we'll zoom on down here to your panchromatic image. You can see here this has, it's a little bit better detail. It's black and white, so you can't determine a whole lot. But what we can do here is go back to the Home tab, go to the metadata, and see what the resolution is on this. And so here we can see it's in feet, and so it's 32.81 feet, and that's going to be less than the 30 by 30 meter image. And so it's really important to always make sure that you pay attention to what this feet is. You can also tell that this is an estate plane. Estate plane is typically done in feet. And so this is pretty much your entire viewpoint of erdas Imagine here. We'll actually, I'll give you a quick viewing here for like a quick multispectral image on how to do a classification for this. So you just go to the raster tab, and then you have like mosaicing in here, so you can stitch a bunch of things together. So in this case, we'll just do like an unsupervised classification here. And we'll just do unsupervised. You tell it what your input is. And my input is going to be, ooh, come here. It's going to be the linear. I'll pick the linear. Output cluster file. We have to give this an output. We'll just set it for right there for now. Just call this temp. And click OK. Notice that automatically added the extension onto it. So we'll do, let's see, number of classes. Let's say we'll do 50 classes. And then maximum iterations. Okay, everything else is good. And then we'll click on OK. So you see the process windows popped up. It's not taking very long. You see how fast it's running, and it's already done. Simple as that. So now if we want to bring this thing in here, let's go ahead and get rid of our Pan Atlanta image here. So remove layer, and then right click in here, go to open raster, go to recent. This recent thing is very, very handy. You've seen me using this so far. It just makes it very quick and easy to get to folders. And so there is your temp, because that's the last thing you did. Click OK. It's already highlighted, and click OK again. And so let's see here. Let's take our linear image, turn it off. And so you can kind of see here there's already a coloring scheme going on with this image. So it's not like a typical like black and white image or something like that where it might have been. And so what we can do here is right click on temp, display the attribute table. And then now you'll see here where it says class names. It has, it's got class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's all going straight down to 50. So everything is an individual class for the most part. You can see where it says blue, green, red, give you like the little histogram values for it, the colors that it's showing for it as well. And so typically anything right here is going to be like a blue color. You know it's probably going to be water. So you can kind of come through here and see what these natural colors are and kind of pair them up with what they should normally be. So something like right here, number 37, like this is typically going to be a like an urban area. You can kind of tell by looking here. You can match the colors up and be able to tell what they are. And so if you wanted to change colors, let's say, so if you want to change, let's say, these two colors, excuse me, right click on here, and let's say we'll change them to like neon green. Bam! So now you can see what they changed on the image. You can see, oh hey, that's water. Definitely know what that is. And so you can say you want water, you know, this would be a true image that you're going to produce. You wouldn't leave it as being green if it's water. You would right click it and change it back to blue. So there's your blue for water. You know, and then you would come down here. Let's go back down here to class 37. Here, and let's change this. Let's change this. We're going to take it to being like a tan color. Oh, whoopsies. I still had that highlighted, didn't I? So change it back to blue. Let's go back down here to 37 again. So let's highlight it, right click it, change it to tan. You can kind of see here that I started changing some of this urban area into tan. So let's see if we can find another. So here's another one. Let's change this one, change it to tan. There you go. You can see it's growing. So you know you're clicking on the right stuff when you're doing this. So tan. So there you go. More of it just became tan. So change even more. So you can see it's still growing. You have to kind of shift through all of this to figure it all out. So here you can probably just highlight all of this. Go to tan. There you go. You see it's becoming more and more solid objects and stuff. So this is how you get your classifications going. You have to start merging everything together and then get it down to your couple of classes that you want it all as. So that's a basic, quick overview of erdas Imagine. And if you have, you can look at my future videos for more information on how to do some more details, specific things within erdas Imagine.